So one of the missions, I guess, of empowerHER was to just create community where, you know, your feelings are a gift. Whatever you feel today and tomorrow is a gift, and it's different than what I feel, I'm sure, because grief is just not. None of us grieve the same way, and I've honored my mom all my life. I think about her every single day. But if you don't think about her one day, then there shouldn't be any guilt that you feel about that. And so the best way that I could sort of get that across to girls was to introduce you to other girls and young women who have experienced loss and really powered through their grief. So when I started this retreat 5 years ago, the idea was to, you know, come to this hotel together, but on Saturday evening of the retreat weekend, after dinner, the chaperones, we would have, you know, 15 chaperones, and the chaperones were adults. They were women in their 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s, you know, who knew adversity, who powered through their grief, who had been through really hard times. And ultimately, the goal was to show girls, you know, it's survivable. I really, really wanted to hear that when I was little, because my pain was so great. It was kind of like a one-ton brick on my chest. I just needed to know it was survivable. I needed to meet another woman. I needed to know a 40-year-old whose mom died, who survived it. And so I want to introduce you to those girls tonight. So I'm first going to introduce you to Sarah, my girl Sarah Schwartz. And Sarah lives in New York City. I live here in Boston, but every year Sarah comes down to the Boston retreat, and all the girls know Sarah. And so I'm just super excited to introduce you to Sarah. I'm excited to introduce you to all the chaperones tonight. We're going to bring them up throughout the night. We're also going to show videos. We have two really powerful, strong, compassionate women, Marla and Jade. They're women who are super involved at empowerHER, who have been really instrumental. And as you'll see, Jade and Marla, they didn't lose their mom in childhood. They can't relate to my loss, but they know adversity and they have a story to tell. And so we're really excited to incorporate that into tonight. And so I'm just going to go ahead and start. I'm going to have sort of a question and answer for the chaperones, if you guys can do that. I want you to introduce yourselves, and I want you to, you know, give your feedback and answer your questions, and then we can open it up at the end for questions. So, okay. So, where's my girl, Anne-Marie?
Hi, guys.
Hi, Anne-Marie. How are you?
Back on. I'm so sorry about that. I think I just have had so many videos and stuff on my machine preparing for this amazing event. So, of course, right at the perfect time, my computer decided to crash on itself. But
no,
I'm here.
This wasn't our plan. Anne-Marie, this wasn't the plan. We weren't experts in video conferencing, and we weren't experts in, like, doing, you know, a virtual retreat. We were, like, packing our bags and moving into a hotel this weekend. And a couple of months ago, you know, that changed for us. And I think most importantly for us, you know, we had a choice. We could have done this retreat maybe in the summer or maybe next year. We could have postponed it. And you and I were like, we're not going to do that. If we're going to do this, we're going to work as hard as we possibly can to give the girls a great experience and do it online. And meet girls where they are, and we're all at home. So don't apologize for having a technical difficulty.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, Kara, you're so right, and you hit the nail on the head. It's been a really interesting and creative past month or two now, because we have had to wear so many different hats. Kara and I joke that one day we're a technician, the next day we're a psychologist, the next day we're something else. So, I mean, it's really been a lot of fun to get to do it together, but it's definitely been a little bit more challenging than quite what we're used to. So, well, anyway, I will go ahead and really just introduce myself to everyone. I'm so excited to be here. Like Kara said, just piggybacking off of that. It is so amazing that we can actually still get to do this. I mean, we said earlier that canceling wasn't an option, and it's not. it's not an option. And this is just proving that right now, that we can still make this something so incredible. So I'm just so proud to be here with you, Kara, with all of you ladies. We're all in different parts of the country right now, which is amazing. And we're welcoming girls on this from all over. So no matter where you are, we're here, and we do have community. We're not, we might not be physically together, but we're not separated. So that feels really good. A little bit of background about me. My name is Anne Marie, as you know, and so many of you already know me from previous years with empowerHER. But if this is your first time seeing me, I'm so happy that you're on, and thank you so much for joining. You're so brave for doing this, and hopefully we'll get to know you a little bit better too, especially as the months and years go on. I'm the Director of Development at empowerHER, and a little bit more background. I was 10 years old when I lost my mom to a
Oh, wait, Anne-Marie, you're muted. Anne-Marie, you're muted. Can you tell her? Does she know? Does everyone know? Is this us?
Anne-Marie, we're having a little bit of trouble hearing you. We just missed your beautiful story. Can you hear us?
All right. So Anne-Marie, we're just gonna wait. It's like we're like Good Morning America. We're just like rolling with the punches here. There was some audio trouble, so but I see Sarah on the screen, so I'm just gonna wait for Anne-Marie to get back on. And Sarah, wave.
Hi.
There's Sarah. So Sarah, we're in a true panel fashion. I'm just gonna go ahead and ask some questions, but before I ask a question of you, I want you to introduce yourself, tell the girls who you are, because so many of our empowerHER girls know who you are from the retreat here in Boston, but just tell everybody a little bit more about yourself and about your beautiful mom, and maybe a little bit about how you've powered through your grief.
Absolutely. So, hi everyone. My name is Sarah Schwartz. I live in New York City, but I'm originally from Los Angeles, and I have been with empowerHER for, I think, 3 years. This is my third Mother's Day with empowerHER, and I found empowerHER on like a crazy Facebook search by accident, and it truly is one of the most beautiful things in my life. So like I said, I live in New York City now. I lost my mom when I was 17 years old, so that's almost 20 years ago. Not to age myself, but almost 20 years ago. And my mom was amazing. She was funny, kind, beautiful, so generous. She was the mom that wanted all of my girlfriends at the house. She wanted us all, to always be there. She wanted us to play in the pool. She wanted us to do fashion shows. I'll never forget this. This is one of my favorite memories. It was a birthday, and any time for my birthday, when she said, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, I want to go to Betsy Johnson. And a lot of you girls may not know what Betsy Johnson is, but she was like a really cool fashion designer, and she had a store. And I wanted to bring my best friend Jessica along for advice. And my mom didn't want Jessica to feel left out that we were shopping for my birthday. And so she said, Jessica, pick out something that you want. And so my mom was she was that. She was nurturing, and I miss her every single day. She passed away unexpectedly. She took her own life. So for me, the grief was, of course, the loss of my mother. But it was also a lot of guilt and a lot of questions, and sadly a lot of blame that I dealt with for many years. And I don't really know what it was and how I was able to crawl out of it, but I always knew that I wanted to be happy and that I wanted to have a happy life. And more than anything, I knew that what my mom would want for me and what all of our moms want for us. And so I allowed myself to stay in that place, in that sad place, but just not, for too long, just not forever. And here I am, and I think about her every day.
Power through. But you did power through, and that's kind of, I think, the most important lesson in all of this is, didn't you feel maybe when you were like 18, 19, 20 years old, like this would never lift? It would never get easier.
Never.
And how old are you now?
37.
37, exactly. And so your grief starts to look a little bit different. Like I always say, I find beauty in grief. And I think maybe it's because of how much time has gone by. But that pain was unimaginable. No one, I hope, you don't wish that on anybody. That pain is really unimaginable. And so whether I was 9 and she died of breast cancer, whether, you were 17 and she died suddenly, it doesn't matter. That pain is just really unimaginable. But like we always try to say at empowerHER, you can still find beauty and, and beauty in this life. You can, our bodies are meant to hold both grief and joy, and that's something I just couldn't see when I was young. So I know it now.
And this, in empowerHER, for me at least, I found it. I wish I would have found it years ago. I wish I would have had this, as a teenager. But for me, even, so many years later, still healing that happens, and it happens so much with this. I mean, it's just been.
Yeah, your mother's everything. The loss of her, your relationship with her, good or bad. I mean, it's everything, and it's really indescribable. So that's why I think you do really need a community. So thank you so much for being honest and brave about this, because like I've always said, my mom died when I was 9, and I never spoke about it until I was in my 30s when I started empowerHER. And so, I think it takes a lot of courage to talk about it. So thanks, Sarah. All right, so I have another question now for Sam. Where's Sammy? Where's my girl? So Sam is an extraordinary member of empowerHER and literally was here from the first day that I started empowerHER, because this was like just an idea that I had. And I literally just asked a couple of my friends, and Sam actually happened to be my nanny. And I told Sam about my idea, and I said, I know this sounds crazy, but I'm thinking of starting a nonprofit, and I'm going to call it empowerHER. What do you think? And Sam was like, it's gold. I'll do whatever you ask, and I'd love to be involved. And so Sam has been at empowerHER since the very first day. So I have a question for you, Sam. Where are you?
Hi, I'm here.
All right. So Sam, I have a question for you, because this is a question that I get all the time. Girls always ask me things like, what was it like when? What was it like when you graduated high school and your mom missed that graduation? What was it like to go off to college? What was it like to get married and have a baby? And I am really open and honest about those questions. I wondered for you, what was it like going off to college right after your mom died? Your mom died, when you were 17. So first, introduce yourself to the girls, of course, and then just share a little bit about what that was like.
Yeah, sure. So hi, everyone. I am so excited to be here with you today. I know it's been different. I have been here since the first retreat. And Kara, can you believe that we had 7 girls the first retreat? And now, now we're virtual. We're worldwide now. So to see how far empowerHER has come through the years is just like, it's so amazing. And I still get butterflies in my stomach. But I am 33 years old, and I I'm originally from Toledo, Ohio, but I now live in Massachusetts. And I was 17 when my mom died, like Kara said. She had a disease called multiple sclerosis. So that is a disease, if you don't know what it is, it kind of attacks your nervous system. So she, you know, when I was a young age, diagnosed when I was 4 years old, she went from progressively from a cane to a walker to a wheelchair, and ultimately had a stroke when I was 15 that put her in a nursing home for the rest of her duration of her life. You know, she did pass away literally a week before I was supposed to go off to college. You know, I was so excited to go to college. I went to Kent State University in Ohio, and that's where my mom went. I wanted to go where she went. You know, she was a teacher and went education. I went into education. So I think I was trying to, you know, hold on to those ties that I had to her. But there were a lot of people that said, you know, stay home, take a semester off, don't rush and go to college. But, you know, part of me was like, okay, so do I stay with, you know, the people who know me and all, you know, my support system, all of that, or do I just get the heck out of here and have a fresh start? And so that's what I did. I said, you know what, I'm going and we're just going to figure it out. It was tough. It was really tough because, as a lot of you probably know, it can be awkward when you have those conversations. You know, everyone's moving you into college, your parents are there, and everyone's like, oh, you know, did your mom move you in? Or is your mom like texting you nonstop or calling you nonstop? And I just sit there and I'm like, no. And you don't want to say because she died, because that just makes it awkward for that person, right?
It would like suck the air out of the room and everyone would be super uncomfortable and then you feel bad.
Exactly. So I pretty much avoided talking about my mom for a while, but I was really lucky to find a community of girls in my dorm, and we lived in the most awful, oldest dorm, smelly, gross ever, you know, but it was the best experience. You know, these girls I met, I'm still friends with today. I joined a sorority with them, and I found my community and I found my people. And I think, you know, for me, that was one of the most impactful things. And I would say to all of you, find your community, and it's okay. It's okay to take a leap and go off somewhere, or it's okay to stay. If you want to stay and be around your support system, whatever is right for you is what I would say. But, you know, that's a little bit about kind of my experience going to college. And it was definitely tough and nerve-wracking and all of that, but you can make it through. And like I said, I'm still friends with those girls today. They're my best friends, and I couldn't imagine not taking that leap of faith and just going. I don't regret it for a second.
I know, and you have to look back and realize just how brave you are. I know that you're like so humble and you wouldn't say it, but you really are. That was such a life-altering moment. That was like such a tragic loss, and you had so many decisions to weigh, and you did it. And I know my freshman year, I went to UConn, and Parents' Weekend was like October, and everyone was like, "Oh, your parents coming up?" And I'm like, "Well, my dad will be here. You know, my dad's coming," because I had no tools, I had no script to tell them about it, and I just didn't want to make anybody uncomfortable. And so I totally get it, but you just have to know how brave you are, Sam. I mean, you've had such an extraordinary life, and your mom would be so proud, and she would have given anything to still be here, you know, and so she's so proud of you.
Thank you.
All right, so I have another question now. So one of our other chaperones, again, Leah's been with us for years. Leah's been, again, one of these volunteers here in Massachusetts. This whole weekend was planned by volunteers. I don't know if anyone really knows that or not. So Leah, come on up. I want to ask you a question. And Leah, I would love for you to introduce yourself, tell the girls a little bit about who you are, and tell them a little bit about, of course, because we don't want to avoid the topic of the coronavirus and this pandemic, and we want to, you know, and we know that sometimes this has a real impact on people's grief, and they re-grieve, and so, you know, how does grief come up for you, I guess, during, you know, such an unprecedented crisis, if you would, and just tell the girls a little bit about you.
Yeah. So hi, everyone. First, a little bit about me, which some of you may already know. My name's Leah, and I'm 27 years old, and I'm from the Boston area. I lost my mom to addiction when I was 18 years old, so 9 years ago now. And during the first month, I was actually at UMass Amherst for college. So kind of like Sam was just saying, during that hard transition into college. I was lucky enough to have my sister Jade there with me, and also a new friend I met in my sorority, Anne-Marie, who lost her mother when she was 10, and both do empower her with me now, and you can see them both on your screens now as well. Both have been a great support system for me, and Jade actually showed me empowerHER in 2015. So I've been volunteering for empowerHER for the past 5 years, and I've been chairing these Mother's Day retreats for the past 4. So to answer your question, Kara, grief is definitely coming up for me during this time, where we're all kind of, forced to stay in our homes and practice social distancing. Obviously, it's no fun for the majority of us, especially those who may not have people surrounding them at home. And especially during Mother's Day weekend, where it's already kind of tough, and we look forward to physically being together at the retreat and telling our stories and hugging one another. So for me, I live alone, so it's been really hard. I make sure to stay in touch with family and friends, whether it be by FaceTime or going on walks 6 feet apart, or I make sure that I'm staying busy and I'm not in my own thoughts all day, because sometimes it can get really hard and you get sad and you get anxious. So personally, staying inside kind of reminds me of the days I was snowed in from school with my mom, and we would bake Rice Krispie treats from scratch, or do a puzzle, or watch a lot of movies and cuddle up on our couch in our oversized t-shirts. And all of those activities I've been doing during this time alone at home. And, it definitely makes me think of my mom more, because I wish I was doing those things with her. But on those days that I get really sad when I'm thinking of her, I remember her laugh, and I look at the old cards she wrote me, and I call a friend. I call the people who support me, and I call the women that I follow and know from empowerHER, and I talk it through with them. So I think it's really important for all of you to know that during these hard times, you have a lot of people who care and love you and will happily listen to you vent or ugly cry or just talk. So I'm coping by doing those fun activities I used to do with my mom and remembering her, and also staying close to those that are in my life, including my cute little dog, Mister, who my dad lets me babysit from time to time. So I've been staying busy.
All right, you have to show Mister, because I want to show how
he's with me now, so I'll have to circulate a picture to everyone or something. But he would have been a distraction. He would have been, photobombing everything. So.
Oh, I would have loved to see Mister. And no, you're right. I mean, this is I started to really worry about girls at empowerHER when this whole thing happened, because when something in the world happens that's scary and unnerving and unpredictable, it's like you crave that security that your mom gives you. Your mom will reassure you everything's going to be okay. Leave this to the adults, like, don't worry about this, everything is going to be okay. And I just can't help but recognize that makes it different for people during this time. And you're right. And I started empowerHER literally with the goal of reducing isolation. It was so simple. I was like, I felt alone, not because anyone did anything wrong, because my community, my family, my friends were amazing. But I felt alone because I didn't know anybody else whose mom died. And now all of a sudden we are like literally in isolation, which is like truly, incredible. It's just truly impossible to kind of fathom. But that's why I'm so proud of what Leah, you girls have done as chaperones. I'm the CEO and founder of empowerHER. Like, the retreat is my favorite time of the year, and so it just bummed me out not to be together. But, I've been involved and busy with so many other things, and you girls, you gave this retreat life, and you kept it going, and you didn't want any girl to feel even further isolated this weekend. So I'm just so super proud of you. Which brings me to your big sis. So Leah's big sister, Jade, again, has been with me in this idea and this mission from the very, very beginning. And Jade's incredible. So I'm super excited to introduce you girls to Jade. All the girls that empowerHER know who Jade is, but for anyone who's new to empowerHER, this is Jade, and she's Leah's big sister. And so Jade, if you would, tell us a little bit about you and add to, Leah's sentiment about your beautiful mom, and tell us a little bit about just how you power through your grief after loss.
Absolutely. So, first and foremost, I really just want to start by saying all of you joining us here today are braver than you know, opening yourself up to this experience and joining us. We appreciate it so much, and we know that this is a really difficult weekend, as it is for us, so thank you. As Kara said, so I'm Jade, I'm 28 years old. I've been with Kara for 7 years now, so like Sam said, our first retreat, we were like jumping for joy at the fact that we had 7 girls joining us, and it was unbelievable. And last year we're over at our hotel, and we have over 100 girls. So we've grown so much, and it's been unbelievable. And from the start, I remember, Kara, we were sitting in your dining room, licking envelopes ourselves to send out to girls, invite them to come with us. Like, that's really where it
I know.
And, we got to work together on the mentor program, and I was able to mentor a beautiful girl, Alicia. So there's just so many components of empowerHER that have been so amazing. And this year I was lucky enough to co-chair with my sister Leah, which has been a really special experience for us. But to answer your question about powering through grief, I think it really starts with the relationship I had with my mother when she was alive. She was the most nurturing, amazing woman, and all she wanted was for me to be happy, and she was proud of me for absolutely everything. I get a good grade, I call mom. I meet a new friend, I call mom. So that's just who she was. So on October 20th of 2011, she lost her battle to addiction. And I had to think to myself, what would my mother want? And it was, again, to still do things that would make her happy and make her proud. So October 20th, she died, and a week later, I was visiting a friend in Arizona. And 3 months later, I was packing my bags to go abroad for 5 months in Australia. I think for me, what really helped was just continue on with my life and do things that would make her proud. And I think if you take anything from what I'm saying, it's, my grief is my grief and your grief is your grief, and you handle it however you want and what makes you comfortable. And it doesn't mean you love your mother any less if you move on a little bit quicker than somebody else. It doesn't mean that you love your mother any less if, Carrie, you're giving me that look, can you hear me? It doesn't mean you love your mother any less if, you're happy on Mother's Day, or if you don't cry on Mother's Day, and it doesn't mean you love her any less if you go days without thinking about her. So I just want you all to know that you can grieve in any way that you want, and it's different for everyone. But for me, like Sam said, I found my community. I had amazing friends at college. I went to UMass, and I knew Anne Marie there, and I had my sister, and I had awesome friends at home and in my family. So I was fortunate enough for that. But again, it's just really, for me, it was honoring my mother, and it was continuing to make her proud, because what she would want more than anything is for me to be happy. And so, I hope that I'm honoring her and making her proud every single day.
You totally are. I mean, I can say that. I'm a mom myself, and that was hard. Becoming a mom was hard for me because it meant that I knew the heartbreak in leaving your children. And what I know is that if anything, God forbid, were to happen to me, I just need to know that my children are okay. And your mom is so proud of you and your sisters, for sure. So, yeah, thanks for being so honest about that, because none of this is really easy to talk about. But it is awesome. And did you have a good time abroad? Was that like a good decision for you?
Oh, it was amazing. I, created great memories, and, I actually have one of my best friends who went abroad with me who's on here listening now. I met unbelievable friends, and again, the memories that I would love to talk to my mom about, I unfortunately couldn't, but I know that she would be happy that I did that. So yeah. It was definitely well worth it.
Yeah, and I know, some people say this, and I agree, but it's like when you do lose someone you love, it's almost like you live 2 lives, right? You live for her, you live her legacy, and so because, you have such gratitude for this life ahead of you, and you want to enjoy it and make her proud in doing that. So I appreciate it. So thanks so much, Jade. All right, I'm going to introduce you guys to Molly. Where's my girl, Molly? So Molly, again, has been just a huge, huge part of empowerHER and the Mother's Day Retreat. empowerHER has hundreds of volunteers all across New England and Southern California, where we're actually active right now. But Molly has been a volunteer in many ways, and most importantly, has been a volunteer to a young girl, a 13-year-old girl here in Massachusetts, and has been so inspirational to her. So Molly, share a little bit about you and your experience with empowerHER, and then answer this question. Just how do you cope with losing your mom when you didn't really know anyone else whose mom died?
I was 21 when I lost my mother to breast cancer. She was an amazing woman. I was one of 6, so she had a lot of kids to raise, but when I was older, we used to, during the summer, every Thursday we'd go for a bike ride, and she knew the only way to get me to go for a bike ride would be to end with some food, so it always ended with the breakfast, and then usually ended with watching Dawson's Creek together. It was really fun. She always liked adventures and doing new things. For me, I was going into my senior year of college when I lost my mom, and even then, it's just really difficult because not many girls had lost their mother at that time. So especially when you're younger, you just feel completely alone, and it could just be really difficult. Losing your mother is difficult at any time, but when you don't know anyone around you who's lost your mother, it makes it extra difficult. What I always like to think of is I just like to build on the strength and the resilience that I have, and that I've grown through with losing my mother, and take that strength and resilience to realize that it's just a moment in time feeling this, and instead I want to remember the great moments I've had with my mother. I also like to always think of the great things I have now, like my family, my friends, my nieces, my nephews, all of that, and just realize that, it can maybe get a little easier every year. It still can be difficult, but just remember the great time and the strength that you have, and the strength that you have to be amazing, and to know that you are not alone at all. And there is always someone out there who's willing to listen, and to talk to you, and to make you feel like it is okay, no matter how you're feeling.
Yeah, right? Like, that's such a Pinterest quote. It's like, everything will be okay, like everything will be okay in the end. And so I love that. I love the idea of the bike ride, and like your mom driving you with the bike ride because she just wanted to spend time with you. That's why she was doing that. And I appreciate it, Molly. You are such a beautiful soul. Thank you so much. I have a couple more girls that I want to introduce you to before we play a couple of other Girl Boss videos. So Ayla, I want you to come on up. I want you to introduce yourself to everybody. And I have a question for you. When did you really believe in yourself again after your loss? And like, how long did that take? A lot of girls ask me, when will this feeling go away? Like, I feel so sad. When is this feeling going to go away? And so if you can kind of talk about that, Ayla.
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. So my name is Ayla, and I just wanted to start by saying I feel so honored and so grateful to be here with all of you tonight. This is my 3rd Mother's Day retreat volunteering for empowerHER. So to give you a little background, I'm 26 years old, and I lost my mom when I was 21 on May 2nd after a long battle with breast cancer. My mom is a true fighter, and she was diagnosed while she was pregnant with me. And actually, the cancer came back 5 times, so she was pretty much sick my whole life. And I think subconsciously I was preparing myself for the day that she would no longer be with me for a long time. That being said, I never really thought the day would come. But when my mom passed, I truly felt like a part of me did too. I had a great support system and amazing friends, and, was going through the motions. But unfortunately, a year and a half after my mom passed, my dad suddenly passed too. So being an only child left without my parents, I was pretty lost. And just as I'm sure many of you have felt, and, at the end of the day, like, it sucks. There's no way to really, beat around the bush of that. But that loss really crushed my confidence in a way, and it's taken a lot of self-work and a lot of self-love to feel it again, but I just want you all to know that it's possible. first, you really need to allow yourself to feel the pain because it hurts, and you just have to really sit there and allow yourself to feel that and grieve so that you can heal. You need to practice self-love, compassion, and joy. And believing in yourself starts with you, and it's not a destination, it's a continuous mindset. It comes with practice and as a result of, making those good decisions, surrounding myself with the right people. I have a great group of girlfriends that have been there with me from when I was a child till now, and I'm so grateful for all of them. And, find those positive outlets and learn to release any of these negative feelings, because the negative feelings are going to come in and they're going to almost haunt you, and you need to learn to just let them go. And all those different ways are going to be different for other people. But I think the main thing, of course, is remembering how much my mom believed in me and still believes in me. And she always finds ways here and there to remind me ever so often. Ladybugs are usually one of those reminders. And just yesterday, I was feeling so anxious about this weekend, and her 5-year anniversary was actually last Saturday. So between Mother's Day and this weekend, that anxiety is pretty high. And I was on a walk, and I felt something on my arm, and I looked down, and there's a ladybug.
Yeah.
And if that's not a sign, I really don't know what is.
Yeah. There are no coincidences, right?
No, there aren't. And, just because she's not here physically doesn't mean that I can't feel her with me. Lead with compassion, love those around you. And her lessons help me to put that love back not only onto myself, but to others, and to believe in myself with every choice that I make. Mm-hmm. I always love the quote, life isn't about learning for the storm to pass, it's about learning to dance in the rain. And you just got to dance sometimes.
You do.
Even when life is beating you down, just keep going, because that's all we can do at the end of the day.
I love it. I love it. And your mom's name was Ike, which is so funny because are you wearing it?
I am.
Oh my God. I
don't know if you can see. I'm can't really see it yet.
Cool. Your mom's name was Ike.
I have a ladybug.
Yes. And that is a great way to honor your mom too. Because I have another question, a question that just literally came in, but I love that, Ayla, because it takes a ton of work to get to where you are, to where you actually feel okay. That does not come without a ton of work. And sometimes you just want a pity party. Sometimes you just want to hide under a rock for a couple of days, and I still do that. And I'm an adult, and I still do that because I just can't muster up the strength. That's all right. It's all right. And so I have a really quick question, actually, and maybe Ayla, you want to answer this, or any of you girls, but we have a question from Emma. She's 10 years old, and it's such a good question, and I don't have a great answer for it because people ask me this all the time, and I literally don't have a good answer for it. But how do you suggest that I honor my mom on Mother's Day? Who can answer that question? There's no perfect answer, but who can answer that? How do you honor your mom on Mother's Day? Maybe, maybe it's been years since your mom has passed away. Maybe you don't just honor her on Mother's Day, you honor her all year long. But I want to hear from somebody. What would you say to Emma?
I guess I'll slightly touch upon this, but I think you should honor your mom every chance that you get. She's the reason you're here right now. Talk to her. When you go out to dinner with your girlfriends or you're at lunch, cheers to your mom. If it's her birthday, celebrate her. I think any chance that you can get, celebrate her. Because when you lose your mom, you need to find those ways to honor her.
Yeah.
And to remember her, because without remembering her, if you're just burying that trauma, and you need to bring it to the surface, and rather than have it be a sad thing, make it be a positive. And that's something I think I've always tried to do the past few years, because my mom was such a badass, honorable, amazing woman that I hope I can even be half the woman she was someday.
Yeah.
do that. Don't feel ashamed about it either, because death for some reason has shame associated with it, or like you almost feel like awkward or embarrassed. Be like, don't be. You don't have a reason to be. If anything, honor her, celebrate her, and continue to be the woman that she would want you to be.
Yeah, I love that. And I think about it, and, you know, she loved you fiercely. So you don't have to find a perfect way to honor her. You don't have to, like, go out tomorrow on Mother's Day and release a balloon and, like, a Chinese lantern or make a necklace. You don't have to do anything that's, like, specific. You know, if you pay honor to her when you think about her and you talk about her, but when you, like, you know, take advantage of this beautiful life at your fingertips. Life is short, and unfortunately a lot of our moms, you know, they realize that, you know, they lived maybe a shorter life, and so there is no wrong way to honor her. There's no right way to honor her. So I hope, Emma, maybe that makes you feel a little bit of comfort and makes you kind of rethink the way that you honor her and know that you're doing whatever it is that's right for you when you try to honor your mom.
Yeah, just by every girl that's here today is honoring your mom.
Exactly.
She would be so proud of you just for even taking the step to click join to this event, because that takes courage and that takes bravery, and I'm so blessed to be with all of you girls today.
I know, right? I'm so proud to be a part of this community. You guys are just strong, compassionate women, and that's what, you know, moves us forward. That's what we crave. So, all right. So I'm going to bring back on Sarah. We have these two awesome girl bosses we want to introduce you guys to, because part of tonight really was about women's empowerment and standing taller. You know, for me, when my mom died, I think it was something that kind of like stole my confidence away, that it was like this like secret that I was keeping. And it was not until I really started to be more comfortable talking about my mother that I gained more confidence, that I kind of stood taller. And I love to think of it this way, like my mom was really opinionated, and, you know, she was this incredible, loving, beautiful woman, but she had something to say, and she would say it. And so when I find myself doing that, or when I find myself like really driven and going after something I want, whether it's a professional goal or a personal goal, and or when someone has, you know, done something I think to hurt me and I've stood up for myself, I feel my mom in that. So we wanted to do this like fireside chat, but also, hashtag girl boss. So Sarah, I want you to introduce everybody to Jade Mills, because she is a total badass and she's got a story to tell. So.
Hi everyone. So I am going to introduce you to the ultimate girl boss. We'll first watch a video about Jade Mills. Jade Mills is not only my mentor, my friend, my confidant for the past 10 years in personal and in business and everything in between. An incredible human being, but she is the biggest real estate agent in the country. She is a powerhouse. She's amazing. So watch this video and then we can sit down and we can have a little chat. Enjoy.
Hello, beautiful little ladies. And I want to say welcome. I know that Kara, Anne Marie, and Sarah are always working hard to make things better and happy for you. My name is Jade Mills, and I sell real estate in Beverly Hills, California. It's been a long road, and when I started, I really didn't know too many people in the real estate business. I now know lots of people in the real estate business, and I think that it's a great profession, and I think maybe one day it's something that you should all consider. I know that it's Mother's Day, and this has to be a really difficult time for you all. Getting to know Kara, Anne Marie, and I know Sarah very well. I know that this is a very difficult time for them, so I know it is for you too. I lost a husband due to cancer, and it's nothing like losing your mother. but it was a very difficult time, and time really helps. So in time, you'll be able to think about your wonderful mothers and be able to laugh and have good memories. But I know that right now it's very, very difficult. So because of the coronavirus, you can't all get together. And that makes it even harder. But these ladies will be working, even after all this is over, to make your lives happier and better. My husband and I had an event at our home in Beverly Hills so they could raise money, so they could all travel around to different locations and be with you at the times that were the most difficult. And I know that you have had loads and loads of fun because I've seen the videos and I've seen you making things and I've seen you doing art and dancing and all these wonderful things that make you happy. So I've spent a lot of time with Sarah, who lost her mom, and I have become like her mother. And I've spent a lot of time, I think, at the difficult times as well as the times that have been happy for us. We've gone shopping. We've had lots of meals together. She's been with my children. So we really feel like a family. And I know that these ladies want to make your life better.
What was it like for your kids when they lost their dad?
Losing a parent is probably the hardest thing that can ever happen to a child because you feel empty, you feel lost. And that other parent has to take the place of a mother and a father. And that's not easy. And you end up sometimes resenting that parent because you want the other one. And you always are thinking, what if my mom was here? It would be different. But let me just say that your dad, I promise you, is doing the very best job he can.
What did you do with your kids the first Father's Day after they lost their father?
The first Father's Day after my husband passed away, it was very, very difficult for the children. And what ended up happening is we went with another family that we were close with. And we went to their home and we had dinner with them and we celebrated with them. And it was very sad. It was very, very sad for them. But friends gathered around us and tried to make things better. And in time, Father's Day after that, it does get better.
What are some movies that you've watched with your young grandchildren recently?
We have watched Frozen 2 over and over and over again. I think watching movies makes you happy. It kind of takes you away. You can get into that movie and just out of your sadness for a little bit. And I love Frozen 2.
What are some good ways? A big part of real estate is creating relationships with people, whether that's friends, that's family, that's clients. What are some ways that you've created really good relationships with people?
Some of the ways I've created relationships with people, especially in the real estate business, is through calling, through constant contact, through events. I mean, maybe like an empowerHER event. And I think that establishing relationships makes it easier for you to do your business and makes it easier for you to make friends and stay in a really good place for business in the future.
What I found when making new friends or meeting new people is I'm always kind of scared or timid to go up to them and talk to them, but I always find it worth it. How do you feel about that?
I feel that making new friends might be difficult in the beginning, but some of my very best friends were people that I didn't want to approach. So I think go up to someone, actually look at them and say, my name is Jade and I really want to meet you. People can't turn you down if you're friendly. And I always used to say to my children when they would come home from school and say to me, oh my gosh, this person was so mean to me. I'd say, you go back and give them love. If you love them, if you give them positive, if you are sweet and nice to them, love is love is reflected in love. They can't be mean to you.
Do you have to be wealthy or rich to make someone feel good or to get them a present?
No. A present you give with your heart. You don't have to spend any money on a present. The best presents that I ever get are presents that someone makes for me, whether it's flowers that you pick in your yard or a drawing that I get from one of my grandchildren. So the best gifts are given from the heart.
What is the best way that these girls can take advantage of today?
Reach out to your grandparents, your sisters, brothers, friends, anyone. Reach out. We can't really see people right now. So reach out with your words, make a phone call, text, however you communicate right now in this coronavirus situation, and make someone else feel good. If you make someone feel good, it makes you feel good. I'm with you guys. Happy Mother's Day. I'm here with my heart and looking forward to meeting all of you. I'm sending you lots and lots of love.
That was such a beautiful video, Jade.
Thank you.
And I come back with Jade herself live. You are. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Happy Mother's Day to you.
Mother's Day to you. Yeah. I'm a mom of dogs. Dog children. You are such an inspiration to me, as you know, and to so many others. And I'm so excited to get to ask you some questions. But first, before we jump in, I just wanted to do a shout out to all of the other girl bosses who are watching right now, our 2020 graduates. We cannot, amazing, but we cannot imagine how difficult it must be to miss out on so many of your senior staples due to the closures of schools and universities. And if you'd like, write your name in the chat if you are a 2020 graduate, and congratulations to all of you. So let's chat a little bit with you. Okay. As you know, all of our participants have experienced some sort of adversity and difficult situations, even in their short lives. We wanted to ask you, especially hearing how you have kicked butt in your life and career despite your hardships, how do you stay motivated and driven even when you feel kicked to the ground or face such hard situations? What gets you up? How do you keep going?
Well, I lost my mother also. I was an adult, but I lost my mother, and it's never easy. It's always hard to lose your mother. But I have a little voice in my head, and my mother was a very positive person, as you know, Sarah. So I always have these little voices saying what I said in the video: love is reflected in love, and kill them with kindness, and I'm here for you. And it doesn't matter if your mother is here, your mother is always here with you. So the way that I stay positive is feeling like my mother is with me, and I really feel she is. And the ladybug story and some of the other stories that I've heard today, I can so relate to, because my mother is the seagull. She loved seagulls, as you know. And so whenever I'm at the beach, or if I'm someplace where there's a seagull, I always say, "Hi, Mother," and it makes me feel good.
I have had a seagull on this rock at this beach house for the past 2 days.
That's my mother.
I know. Oh, happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
And you have always taught me to live by the golden rule. So I'd love if you would just share that with the girls and why you feel that is just so important. And you live that way in your personal life and your business and really everything you do. And I think that is really what has made you so successful. And so maybe you can just elaborate on that just for a sec.
So again, my mother always used to say to me, you treat people like you want to be treated. And I think that whatever that is that you give from your heart, you get back. And I think that do unto others as you want them to do unto you. So if you're kind and good and direct people, I mean, real estate is a really tough business. But if you direct people, like my Angie Dickinson story, that Angie wanted to sell her house, and I said, don't sell your house. This isn't the time. Live here and let it appreciate, and just do the right thing, whether it's in business or whether you're at the market. People always say to me, oh my gosh, you know, you're talking to the checker, you're talking to the person behind you, in front of you. Why not? You might make someone's day happier just by talking to them and making them feel a little special.
Right. It's so true. So thank you so much for that inspiring message. And I've learned so much from you, and I continue to, and we can all learn so much from you. So thank you.
I want to say one thing to you, Sarah. I wish your mother was here, because she would be so proud of you. I'm so proud of you and where you have come and what a wonderful woman you've become. Kind, beyond words, and just fabulous. And I just wish your mother could see how kind and very successful you are, not only in business, but in life. I love you so much.
I love you so much. Thank you. And so much of it is because of you. And so I thank you.
It's you.
Well, I love you, and happy Mother's Day to you.
And happy Mother's Day to all of you.
To all of you. Thank you. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Guys, I am so full of love right now. I hope you can all finally hear me. I am so sorry. My computer is overheating. I guess I can feel the heat from all the Fireside Chat. Just had to make that joke, no pun intended. But thank you so much, Jade and Sarah. You guys just make my heart melt. Both of you have just been such an incredible influence on myself personally and for empowerHER and in Southern California. Because I got cut off earlier, I am just going to give a quick introduction about myself. I'm not sure exactly where I got cut off, but I am the development director at empowerHER. I lost my mom when I was 10 years old to a brain tumor. And like many of the girls and like many of the stories that you might have heard, I had never really talked about my loss. When I was 10 and then going and growing up into a preteen and becoming an adolescent, and really right up until college, I had not only never met another girl whose mom had died, but I felt like I never really acknowledged it, especially the way that I should have. Like I felt like I never really grieved or grieved the right way. There's no right way to grieve, but I didn't know what that means. And sometimes to this day, I'm not sure what that means. But having this community just reminds me that no matter what I'm feeling, I'm never alone. So going to UMass Amherst, I met Jade and Leah, who you heard from earlier, and they were really the first ones who I had met who had gone through something like this. And unfortunately, they were going through it right when we started college. So it was really, it was painful to watch them go through that, but it did all of a sudden feel like, wow, I do have this community, even though I might not know it, and even though I'm not necessarily talking about it with them, there are other girls out there. And then as I went through college and then graduated from college, that's when I was introduced to empowerHER by Jade and Leah, and I was introduced to Kara. And immediately it just, my love for empowerHER, and I think really I had never told my story before, and having the opportunity to tell a story and then hearing all these other stories just created this community that was unbelievable. And what started in 2014 after college, I was a volunteer. I then became a mentor to a young girl who I was actually the babysitter for, the family. The mom, Britton, who was a dear friend, got sick and passed away. And as difficult that was watching, it still felt like I was in the right place one way or another. So what turned into a volunteer and mentor and a part-time job with empowerHER. I still had another job. At the end of 2018, I said, you know what, I think it's time. I think I'm ready for something else. I think I'm ready to make a big jump, to make a leap. And so I did that. I booked a one-way ticket to Los Angeles, California. I had actually never even been to the state of California before. I took my work remote and I said, Kara, you have to let me somehow expand empowerHER. I don't know how or when or if we're going to be able to do it, but we have to do it one way or another. So I landed in LA, and Jade, who you just heard from a few minutes ago, was so kind and generous to put on a fundraiser for her in her backyard. Just a really selfless, amazing, and beautiful thing she did for us. And that was only a few months ago in October. And since then, we have raised more funds than I could have ever imagined to make Southern California empowerHER start. So, I mean, looking back on it and starting off this journey, being 10 years old, losing my mom, to really not talking about it for 10, 11, 12 years, to now having this be my career and getting able to be a part of starting a chapter across the country is really just beyond what I could have ever imagined. And in January, I left my full-time job and I went to work for empowerHER full-time. So I'm so happy to be able to do this. It's really just incredible. I can't stress it enough. If someone would have told me 5 years ago that this was what I would be doing and where I'd be living, I would have said you're crazy. So one other thing before I introduce our next guest, earlier Ayla had said one of her mom's favorite quotes was, why wait for the storm to pass when you can dance in the rain? And that's something that I really very much resonate with. And it really ties into what we've gone through with COVID recently. COVID has been really difficult, especially for me. I lost my grandmother, who was like a mother to me in a lot of ways, of COVID just a few weeks ago. And then planning this retreat and all of the obstacles that empowerHER has faced just in general with this entire global crisis. It's been a challenge, but I really have tried to just find happiness in the moments of all of this. And one of my favorite books is Dance While You Can. My mom's best friend, who is also from Scituate, where empowerHER was founded, coincidentally enough, gifted this to me. And I love Dance While You Can because it really just goes back to one of our favorite quotes at empowerHER of, why wait for the storm to pass when you can dance in the rain, right? And I think that this is just a testament to what my mom believed in and to what a lot of us at empowerHER are really trying to follow. So I also say that it takes a village, and Jade was kind enough to throw this amazing event in her backyard for us. And one of our near and dear friends, who's an incredible news anchor for Fox 11, her name is Marla Tellez. We met her that night, and since we met her, it has been this ongoing, beautiful relationship. Marla ran the LA Marathon for us, and we are going to bring Marla on screen in a little while, but I want you to get to know Marla a little bit more in these videos before we do. We're so excited to have you, Marla. So let's go ahead and watch these videos first. Thank you all.
Well, hello, girls. It is lovely to meet you. It is all my honor. My name is Marla Tellez, and I am coming to you from the television studio where I work. The coloring's a little off right now because not all the studio lights are on, but it's still a pretty cool peek of a television studio. Maybe you think it's cool, maybe not. Maybe you've already been in one. This is in Los Angeles, where I live, and as I said, couldn't be more honored to be a part of your special weekend, your Mother's Day weekend. And my heart is with all of you during this time, not just this weekend, but above and beyond. I feel for each and every one of you, and I cannot wait to be a part of the empowerHER event to make your day a little bit more special and to tell you more about me. For starters, I'm a news anchor here at Fox 11. The website, you can even watch me live, is foxla.com. I anchor the noon show, and I do reports for the 6 p.m. newscast, which is what just finished up here. That's, by the way, our theme music playing in the background. That's the control booth there. So apologize for that, but that's what happens when you're in a TV studio. We've been covering the coronavirus pandemic, as you can imagine. Good news is that we're not out of the woods yet, but things are looking better. And I met Cara Belvin and Anne Marie and was able to do a story on empowerHER, which is why I am a part of this weekend. So maybe we can even show you that clip of the empowerHER segment. That would be nice. In any case, I look forward to speaking more about what I do for a living, if hopefully you're interested in getting to know you and being a part of your special weekend. So for now, I'm going to sign off. Okay, bye.
That was such a great video, and I'm so excited to now welcome Marla herself. Marla, hopefully we can get your video on. Okay, let's unmute, press the microphone. There you are.
You would think I would know better since I work in television, but this is a whole different thing for me.
Oh my God, please don't worry about it. My computer's already overheated so many times that I'm like, of course it would happen, but it's so good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, come on. All of you are the real boss ladies. There's no question. It's such an honor, as I said in the in-studio video there. A couple of things about that I just first thought of. So that was what you just watched is my latest demo reel in television. That's what we have instead of a traditional resume. That's what we have to show for what we do. But that's still a couple of years old. So to me, that's like, oh my gosh, I need to update that tremendously. Secondly, to follow Jade Mills is, that's, you know, she's just incredible. And she, in fact, is why I am here. Because if you saw in the video, I had a segment where I toured amazing homes, and that's where I met Jade. And I got to tour some of the most fabulous properties in Los Angeles with Jade, and met Alexis through that. And then they turned me on to this empowerHER fundraiser that happened in October. And I said, hey, yes, I want to bring that to our audience and to bring it to light and get exposure because it deserves that. And so and here I am as a result of that. So thank you.
Marla, thank you so much. And for those watching that might not fully know, Marla has just gone above and beyond since we have met her. Marla, you have used your voice in ways that have made such an impact. Marla's done new segments on us, and that's attracted more girls to us. So you really are a hero in our empowerHER community. And I know that you say that about us, but we really, really mean that about you, Marla. From day one at Jade's house, like I said, my heart is totally exploding right now, just getting to see Jade and now getting to have you, because you ladies are really the reason on why we're serving girls in Southern California right now. And it takes a village. It's all of you doing this and all of this entire community. It blows me away. So, well, Marla, I want to ask you, because you do use your voice and you're on TV all the time. I mean, for some of us, that is just like, oh my God, it seems so scary. So how did you really overcome public speaking? How did you get into that? And what tools do you use when you're really feeling that pressure and the pressure is on?
Well, the funny thing is, when I set out to be in the television industry, there was no way I was going to be in front of the camera. That was absolutely not in the cards for me. And that's why this is hilarious, because I was a young girl growing up who I wasn't necessarily shy, but when it came to I have to stand up in front of a group of people, I was the girl who would ask the teacher, you know what, can I not do the oral presentation? And of course I had to. And I would even stay home from school to avoid public speaking. I mean, that's how bad it was. And so the reason I got into television in the first place was simply because I had a craving for current events. I loved news, and I really enjoyed writing. In fact, that was my first major in college was English. I switched over to political science and communications later on. But I love to write, I love current events, and I thought, hey, I want to be a television news writer. So that's when I got into it. And I did that the first 4 years. I was a television news writer and then a producer. And for you may not know what that means, but that essentially means that you're in charge of a newscast. You pick out the stories within your community and you assign your reporters to those stories to cover, and then you're in charge of a newscast. So that's what I did for the first 4 years or so of my career. And this was started in 1998. So it's been, I cannot believe that it has been 22 years. I'm dating myself. I'm 44 years old, by the way. So with that said, it was an internship that got me into the business. And I will say this to all the girls watching, no matter what industry it is, I think that an internship is just invaluable. That way you can see the industry, see if it's for you. And I loved the feel of a newsroom. I loved the activity. I loved that it was the same yet different every day because the news is always changing. And I love the adrenaline rush and working in that deadline field. With that said, it was a mentor of mine, a host, who really turned me around. And I was so inspired by her because a producer does all of the work and then somebody on television really gets the credit for it. So I thought, hey, I'm doing all the work for her and she gets all the credit. I think I can do that. And then I thought, well, no way. I can't get in front of the TV. So what she did for me is this is a good way to get over your fear. Back then, she took a camcorder. You remember those things? This was probably in 2004. And we went to a public park. You know, you have to imagine families and playgrounds and kids. And I had written a news story. And she said, okay, report it. Pretend like you're on scene and start talking in front of the camera. And you know, when you're out and about and if you see somebody with a camera, you all look, right? You're like, what are they doing? What are they in? And then all eyes are on you. And it's a surefire way to get over your fear because you just have to realize that, you know what, you're brave enough to be there and do that. And it doesn't matter what they think. And they're not doing it, you are. So when you put yourself out there like that, you really start to overcome that fear. And that's really what launched me. And I realized then that, you know, when I was afraid to do something, that was a telltale sign that I should do it. If you're afraid to do something, that means that you need to overcome that fear, because once you get on the other side, I mean, you want to talk about empowerment, there's just nothing like it. So to think that I did that, and now for a living, I talk in front of people, albeit to a camera. Nonetheless, on the other side, there's a lot of people out there. It's amazing, you know, and I am proud of myself for overcoming that. But I'm also a critic of myself. You know how that goes.
Yeah. Marla, you have so much courage, and that's such an inspiring message because it's so true that when something scares you, it usually means that there's something even better on the other side, and you are just a prime example of that. So thank you so much for sharing that. So Marla, as your career has grown, how have you handled criticisms and being in the public eye where strangers and people that you don't know are passing judgment on you or have an opinion, especially as a lot more people know who you are than maybe you know them because they see you as this public figure. How do you handle that, and does that get stressful at all?
Yes, that's probably one of the hardest things, especially, of course, when I got into this, social media wasn't a thing when I was first on television. It just wasn't there. And now with social media, I mean, on one hand, thank goodness, because it connects all of us. And so it's such a wonderful tool, there's no question. But social media has become such a part of the newsroom life. And we are told that we need to be active on social media to connect with our viewers. But doing this job really puts you out there and it opens you up for critique. And so every day I get critiqued by complete strangers. And as a female, the critiques are a lot different than male counterparts, I will say that. And it's, you know, I don't like the dress you're wearing. I don't like how you look. I don't like this. And it's just like, really? You know, I am here to inform and educate and, you know, make your little surrounding wherever you are better. And you're going to critiqued me. And then you grow thick skin, number one. And then you also have to remember that they don't know you. You know, people who judge me on television, they've never met me, actually. So I have to remember not to take anything personally. And then also I was referring to about putting yourself in the arena. Whenever you put yourself in the arena and everyone else around you can judge, they're not in the arena, meaning if they were brave enough to be in the arena, then that's a different story. But you have to just remember that when you put yourself out there, you know, pat yourself on the back, because it takes a lot of courage. And a lot of times the people who judge you, they don't have the same courage that you do. So that's what I keep in mind.
Absolutely. It's such a great answer. And like you said, I think it's easy for people to pass judgment and say something when they're actually not the ones walking in those shoes. But either way, it's so inspiring. And you've used your voice, Marla, in ways just so far beyond, and for empowerHER and for other things too. And it's amazing to watch, because you're just so full of light, and you are just the best representative of empowerHER and so many other just causes and good things that you've said. And like I said, using your voice in the most positive way. Where and why do you think that comes from? A lot of your drive just in your success over the years, and continuing now, you've been in the industry for a while, but you're still just doing something amazing with it. And you've proven that with empowerHER time and time again. Where does that really come from?
Well, I would say, and first of all, I am wearing my empowerHER shirt.
We love your empowerHER shirt.
Thank you very, very much. I'm honored to wear this and have this and be a part of it. So, you know, listening, I've been watching a part of this for the last hour. So I heard everyone speak, and, you know, here I am getting choked up. And I will say this, that I have my mom, and I almost feel a guilt for having her and listening to your stories, because I want to hug every one of you. And with that said, my drive comes from my mom, because my mom was a single parent. So I didn't have my dad. My dad is still alive, but he left when I was 3 because of addiction. So I've heard the stories about the addiction too, and that just chokes me up all over. I have an older brother who is also an addict. And so I deal with that every day. But being the product of a single parent, and the cards were stacked against us, meaning money was a problem. My dad was physically abusive, so we spent time in a women's shelter. And then when my mom overcame that, then, you know, she worked her you-know-what off to provide for us. And she wasn't present a lot. We took care of ourselves because she was just grinding. And I remember as a young girl watching her do this, and, you know, I'm too young to help. But I just remember thinking, you know, I need to be self-sufficient. I can't rely on anyone but myself. And I need to I want to be somebody. And one day I want to help my mom and give back because of all of this that she went through, because she didn't expect to have to be a single mom. You know, she taught me so much about drive and work, and my work ethic is from her. So that's where that comes from.
Wow, that is so beautifully said, and thank you for sharing that, Marla. I know that some of these stories they're not easy, and looking back and thinking, wow, look how far I came. I think I speak on behalf of all of us that sharing with that just really touches our hearts, and thank you so much. And we just got to see Kara come back on the screen. Hi again, Kara.
Hi, I've had to, because I love Marla and Jade Mills so much. You know, Anne-Marie, like, you know how hard that we work to bring a chapter in California for girls. And Marla, you just totally hit the nail on the head. That was the point that I had when I started empowerHER. I didn't necessarily need only women whose moms died to feel passion for my cause and to help further this mission. I needed women who knew adversity. And you just explained what I felt all my life. Even if you couldn't relate to my loss, you may have experienced some other hardship or trauma, and you could, you know, you had so much to give a girl like me. And so it's like a perfect example of just, you know, how the empowerHER community is growing. It's growing because we have like strong and compassionate and supportive women in our corner. So thank you, Marla. We love you.
I love you, and I love your red, by the way. Look at you.
I know, right? You know why? So here's why I'm wearing red. I was doing an empowerHER event maybe a couple months before the coronavirus, and I was with one of the empowerHER girls, Jessica. She's listening in now. We went to New York City. We were like at a fundraiser for empowerHER, and I showed up, and I'm like in my all red, my monochrome, like color, whatever, color blocking that's like, I don't know, all the girls are doing. And Jessica said, oh my God, red's my favorite. Red was my mom's favorite color. And I said, that's funny, because when I put this on today, I thought, there's a reason why I'm wearing this, because I literally don't own any red. And so I think there's no coincidences. So this is Jessica's mom's favorite color, and so I wanted to wear it tonight. So.
Well, happy Mother's Day to you, Sarah.
Thank you.
I do want to say this, that I want to be a part of the group, and if I could be a mentor, or if any of the girls want to reach out to me personally, please, I'm here and would love to keep that communication going.
We are. And just as we said, right before the world really changed, we were so excited about our Southern California chapter. So, you know, we'll pick right up where we left off. And so, Anne Marie, I thought that I would come on and I would put my crown on.
Because I've got my sunglasses.
Oh, funny. Oh, my sunglasses too. So we're getting ready. Look, I'm going to straighten my crown and remember whose daughter you are, right?
Right.
So I got my crown on. So we have our live concert with Alexis Wren. It's in 30 minutes. And so everyone, I can't really figure out which way, but everyone is invited back in 30 minutes for the live concert with Alexis Wren. It's going to be super fun. And one recommendation that we had, Anne-Marie, was just everyone just stay logged in case Alexis shares this on her Instagram feed. We just want everyone to like stay logged in and get access to it. And so that's how we'll like close out the night all together. So a concert.
I love it. Well, Marla, thank you over and over for joining us today, for your generosity, for doing so much to open empowerHER Southern California. We're so lucky to have you in this family, and I hope that some of our attendees watching will get to meet you someday when we can all be reunited again.
I hope so too, and I don't think you can see, but this is that's me and my husband running, and we have our empowerHER, and that was for the marathon. Yay!
That's amazing. And now, like, you have Nancy Berry on, like, we had all this.
Nancy Berry, yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, you guys.
It's awesome.
Amazing, Marla. As if you can't be more of a champion. Marla crushes the marathon, 26 miles, with her husband, who we love, and you guys represented empowerHER, and you had the shirts on, and you were on social media and doing Instagram lives, and I was laughing, I was crying, I was doing everything, and that was just at the end of March. So it's fun to get to look back on that when it wasn't even too far long ago, when things took
we're lucky. We're lucky that they let it go on.
Yeah, I know.
In hindsight, given everything, because that was really like the last weekend before, the darn virus became a part of our world.
I know, and who knows? Maybe we'll have a few others joining our marathon team for the LA Marathon next year.
Yeah.
So, all right, everyone. Well, thank you, Marla, again, and we will see you all in about 22 minutes for our concert with Alexis Wren. We're so excited. So grab your fun sunglasses or your crown, and we will see you all very shortly. I'm going to keep my computer open so I can just pop right back in. So, bye, guys.
Okay. Bye.